Heyo and welcome to Planet Plipcam. In this video I'll be documenting my submission for a flat ride contest in the Planet Coaster Console community. I suspect that this little project will carry over onto 2 episodes as I finalise my submission, and with this being my first contest I've ever entered on the game, I need to explain my thought process as I go into this flat ride video. So I brainstormed my ideas before nailing down which of the flat rides I actually wanted to skin to start with, and I went for the Sundial at the start, which is a very common ride in theme parks and certainly in my area, so that can certainly inspire me. And I've always wanted to create scale monuments in the game, so I thought that I could incorporate this into a flat ride. So this was really the basis of inspiration for my entry, and I created a mood board and started drawing scale blueprints of the Eiffel Tower, as I really wanted to have a break between the ride's swing to the left and the right. So after a lot of thinking, I nailed down which ride I wanted to do, and I certainly wanted to do the Eiffel Tower. So I did some plans, looked at some of the blueprints, I scaled it out with some of the 4-meter pieces, did all of the maths there, and then I knew the scale and the size that I needed to do for my build. I also came across some videos on YouTube which certainly helped me build this Eiffel Tower. These videos really taught me a new building technique which I had never come across before, by using these 4-meter grid pieces and then using them in a bigger square, seeing the bigger picture and getting identical angles on each side of the pillars of the Eiffel Tower. So I want to give you a bit of an idea of how it's done. If you take anything from this video, I would love for you to learn how to do this kind of technique in Planet Coaster Console. It's very easy, so all you have to do is build your structure to start with, and I've just angled the beams how I wanted them. I used the coaster support pieces, and then I've grouped them into a building, and from there you can just use the grid size to create a bigger square, which will obviously keep your angle, and it means that using the advanced rotate doesn't mean that you have to be off, so it's not a square. This was so important for me because I didn't want to get 10 hours of building time down the line and find that my pieces didn't join to the same point in the sky. So to quickly talk about the other things that are going on your screen at the moment, I used lots of coaster supports for realism and used lots of the basic shapes also to just add some detail to the top of the beams. And then I used lots of the vintage pillars to form an ornate base, and this was all based on the measurements that I set out with the wooden poles which you will have seen, and this was all done prior with all of the maths that I did to scale this to around a quarter of the size of the Eiffel Tower. So that just shows you how big it actually is in real life compared to the Planko scale. So here you can see that we've took a big jump in time. So I've assembled all of the pillars for the Eiffel Tower, all 4 of them as you can see on your screen now, and I really could not record all of the different videos and put them into a time lapse as it was way too much recording to do. So up till now I've spent about 11 hours on this project. So this video is kind of going to be updates going through all of the different steps to construct this Eiffel Tower. So to get all of the stanchions equidistant from each other, I basically scaled up the method that I just showed you, and I put them all into one building and then duplicated it. Obviously the Planet Coaster UI brings your building up a little bit, but just bring it down to the same level, and then I rotated it around with the angle snap on, and then that was easy. It was just into the 4 different areas of the ride, and you can see it's overlapping onto the ride, but I'm really happy with that as I really want it to be nice and up close for the guests. So onto the next piece of footage. This was about 5 hours into the build, and at this point I had already constructed the archways for the ride to go through, and also just between the different stanchions. I thought they looked really good, and to do that I used the basic shape pieces, the smallest rectangle 2D shape, and then I used the circle technique as you will have seen me do in Missouri Gardens, just to make a nice big circle. That was a huge piece count, about 100 pieces, but you have to use lots of pieces if you don't want too many angles in your circle. So that worked well, and then we've used some of the icing pieces too, just to fill in the gaps between the 2 arches that I've made there. So they've worked really well, and then from the new World's Fair DLC, we've used some of the wooden pieces which were meant for the Roman kind of walls. They've trimmed the top of it really nicely too. This is probably one of the highest piece counts of the build. As you can also see, I've done the first observation deck. So I've done that out of the basic shape pieces again, some of the panels. Then I've used these like pirate kind of pieces, which are the trims, pillars kind of things. And then the stucco pillars also, they've gone sideways across there. And then I've also just added a roof. This was pretty early beginnings to the progress in this area. So as we get into the next part of the video, if you are enjoying this, you must be, as you are sticking with me. Please do like the video, and if you are new, please do subscribe for more Planet Coaster console content. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Here you go then, the big advancement. As you can see, this was the time where I really started to see my ideas coming together. We've got the ride going through the sides of the Eiffel Tower, and I'd started and nearly finished getting the top of the Eiffel Tower on top. However, this was where my heart sunk very deep. I got to this point, and this footage doesn't show it because I'd already started trying to delete some pieces, but I got up to 5,000 pieces and I really needed to refine this design. I got carried away building the roof. Ruble Trillions was certainly inspiring me for that, and I got carried away, so I started deleting some pieces, as you can see now. So from there we head into this next part of video, and you can see that in the inside I've had to make this all bare. I've had to strip out some of the detail, which is a shame, but as long as you don't see it, I'm not too fussed. It's okay. I'm happy that I can get this design into a blueprint. You can really see the shape of this tower. I'm really happy with how I've done it. For the middle section, for those stanchions, I've really used the same technique. I just added a bit more of curve in there, because it does have that curve up to the second observation deck. And then for the third one, it's basically just a straight line all the way to the bottom, and that's just been tapered off just as you get nearer the bottom. So that's how that one's done. You can also see I've had to delete some of the wooden pieces, like the Taisho Roman wall pieces. They've really had to go because didn't have enough pieces. The icing pieces have been taken away in some places. It just all had to be done. But now I'm at a stage where I had to get something done on the top of the Eiffel Tower. Obviously you've got that main point that everyone wants to get to. I've only ever stood underneath the Eiffel Tower, I've never been up there, but I really wanted to create an awesome observation point from the top for all the peeps, if not just an archer, which I can place up there. So that was where I was heading after this stage. Okay, so we're moving into the next clip, and as you can see, this is very close to finished. So I added the top part of the Eiffel Tower, the last observation deck, and then I had to decide what colour I wanted my flat ride to actually be. So I went for this kind of creamy brown colour, and I know that this submission is certainly not the most flashy kind of submission. It's not all the biggest storyline, it's not got all the colours, but I really chose what I really wanted to build in Planet Coaster. If I was going to put so much time into it, I'm looking at about 15 hours at the moment. I really want to do something really enjoyable, and I might almost be sick of placing the same beam over and over again. But yeah, I went for those colours, and I didn't choose really what I thought would win the contest. I just went for what I really wanted to build, and once I got stuck on this idea, I stuck with it. So as you can see, I've already started trying to add some kind of elevator to this. I certainly need to keep going on this and add some more. I want to add some more supports in there if I've got enough pieces to go. At the moment I think I have about 100 pieces to go. Certainly I can delete some more pieces. You can always find a piece or two. And then looking at the observation deck, looks really cool using the sci-fi kind of what they're called, the gates here, kind of those things, and the mesh railing. They look good. And then I've used lots of the vintage kind of beams, and then the vintage tower, as I needed a low piece count piece, and that was ideal. I might add some of the like pylons that they have up there, some of the radio signal kind of things, but that will certainly come if I have enough pieces. So then you can see that I've obviously tried to get the clearance for the flat ride as good as I can. So I've gone over again and just separated the arches, just done that all over again just to make sure it's perfect, as I really didn't want clipping in this. So we're going to go into Plipcam and just appreciate the scale of this. So when you try zoom out on the map, you try zoom out and then you can only just get the top of the Eiffel Tower in your view. So that is how big it is. Really tall, and it's already taking up about like 7 to 8% of the new next gen console limit. So that's how many pieces we're looking at here. So I'm really proud of how it looks at the moment, and I can't wait to get into the next episode where I'll be showing you like finishing it off and then just talking about it in general and getting some nice cinematic shots. As certainly this kind of build, these monument builds, this is something that I would really like to incorporate into parks in the future, as this was so much fun to build and I put so much time and effort into it. So as I said, I wanted to touch on the scale a bit, so it's really hard to tell really. So here's a carousel, the little Venetian one, and I'm just trying to flick through some of the rides here just to show you. In Missouri, those planes look huge that you've just seen, and obviously they're not too big compared to the Eiffel Tower there. The only real things that compare to it are not even these new ones, well, not new, the ones that came with the base game that you had to pay for in the Magnificent or Classic Rides DLC. Even these big hammer swings don't compare up to it. The only ones that do compare are the big swings. So these are pretty much the same height. And I've never liked tall things in the park, tall rides. They just look really out of place because you can't theme them very well. So that's how I got on with that. So yeah, I'm really happy with the scale of this Eiffel Tower. So here you can see almost a kind of teaser to the next episode where we'll be wrapping up this creation. There's a display sequencer and I've just placed all the audio kind of things necessary and the signs for the competition. The queuing will certainly be simple for this ride, and I definitely want to make this a big spectacle for any park, and I can't wait to get it on the workshop too once that stops playing up, as there seems to be problems on both of the consoles at the moment. Hopefully that gets sorted out for the competition. So that just about wraps up this video then. I do hope that you've enjoyed it. One of my coolest builds yet in the game. I'm so happy with it. If you have enjoyed this video, obviously please do leave a like. It is really appreciated. And if you are new to the channel, thank you for getting to this point in the video. Please consider subscribing for more Planet Coaster console content. We do lots of reviews, lots of tutorials, and lots of my series. We showcase all of my builds through time lapses and real-time footage through the game. So you'll see some more videos which are recommended for you, some of my previous videos, and once again I thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.